The NAFTAA Podcast.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
NAFTAA Pod, we're back. Episode 210. Michael, it's bad day, sad day. Happy Eclipse Day, though.
Morgan and I were going to make a TikTok. We have Chips Ahoy and Oreo at our house, and we were going to make a TikTok of a Chips Ahoy and an Oreo going in front of it, and I was going to turn the lights off once it got all the way, and then we're going to put it back through. Think that's a good idea or a bad idea?
Bang down in the comments if you think that's a good idea or a bad idea.
Would you like it on TikTok?
We'll send you Michael's handle afterwards. Speaking of, if you're listening, like, subscribe, share, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, etc., etc., etc. It's just me and Michael. We had to do this quick. I didn't even really tell the Tuckers. I got to send an apology text to them after this is done, just because, like I said, last pod, I'm getting surgery tomorrow. I got to get it done early so I can record it before I go in, which is tonight. So we're just trying to do this off the cuff, right off of being outside, taking a look at the moon passing the sun at a 90% clip. Were you guys 95?
We were like 99.
Damn.
If we went 20 minutes like north, we would have been in totality.
Was Mom in totality? She was sending us wild pictures.
Youngstown was, but it was cloudy, so she didn't get to see it very well. I felt bad. She was so excited.
Yeah, one of the greatest pictures. I'll actually put this on the screen so you guys can see it and get an idea of who just Michael and I came from. This is our mom. Just sending us this picture. Just stoked in a Sheetz parking lot with her glasses on.
That's the best thing, is that she's out of Sheetz.
And now my camera's going to be all screwed up. But Alexis was sitting there and she goes, why did she just go like 10 minutes from home? I go, no, she actually went to Youngstown. I don't know if that Sheetz is in that parking lot, but it's just funny to see, like,
that's
such
where
a teacher.
That's where we take the China bus to go to New York.
Yes, the bus.
Isn't it literally like...
It's in Chinatown. Chinatown bus, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like the name of it on the side. It literally says, like, China bus.
Yeah. Michael, one time, coming to New York, lost his entire bag.
Be accurate. I didn't lose it. I straight up left it on the bus and, like, forgot about it. Like, losing it would mean, like, I didn't know what happened. I knew what happened. I left it on the fucking bus.
So him and I were running through Chinatown at, like, ungodly hours of the morning, like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, trying to track this thing down. Not the easiest thing to do, let me tell you. But happy Eclipse Day. Hopefully my surgery goes well and I'll be back potting. I'm coming to realize I got to do that Thursday pod on the Man City podcast with the Shades of Blue guy. I might be a little yied out.
You're gonna be cooked.
I might be a little drugged up.
You're gonna be zooted, brother.
I'm gonna let some fucking flares go off about my guy Pep. I'm not gonna lie. So tune in for that.
I'm excited to watch. Yeah,
it's must see TV if you're one of our 12 followers. All right, Michael, tough week for you, right? We can't lie. Arsenal is now in the lead in the Premier League. Liverpool United had the big match this week. We're also going to talk about just a total fumble by Aston Villa, and run through the rest of the games. But first, dudes of the week, let's have you lead us off. Give us your first dude. We'll do 3 each, and tell the people who they need to be paying attention to.
All right, so I'll first take you guys to Scotland, Rangers and Celtic game. My shout out is, I think it's Rabbi, Rabbi. He's Welsh. Rabbi Matondo, scoring the goal in the 93rd minute to give Rangers a tie. Importance of that, it was at home. Maybe they should have won. Whatever. That game's always tough. But it keeps the title completely in their hands. You know, they win out if they play and get more points from this point on from Celtic. They'll win the Scottish League. So shout out to them. Shout out to Rabbi.
Love it. I'm also going to go international on you. Let's go Serie A And my wife, being Sardinian, there's one Sardinian team in Serie A. It's Cagliari. They are battling it out in the relegation scrap in Serie A. But a 2-1 dub against Atalanta this past weekend. I'm gonna shout out my guy, Nicolas Viola. He got the game-winning goal in the 88th minute. It's been kind of a theme for Cagliari all season. They get late winners. And now they were kind of like in 17th, and now they're sitting in 13th. The problem is in Serie A, from 13th to 18th, it's difference of literally 4 points. From 13th to 19th, it's difference of 5 points. Like, there are a lot of teams still in trouble of getting relegated in Serie A. So I'm keeping track of Cagliari, but big win for them over Atalanta. They got Inter Milan. They've also kind of turned it up over the past few weeks. It's 10 points of their last 5 games, which is kind of crazy for them. So yeah. Cagliari, shout out to my wife's homeland, Sardinia, beautiful place. You should do your honeymoon there if anyone is listening. And then I said this in the chat. I just think it's funny. I'm going to also shout out another team that I have a weird connection to. I always say it wrong. The Mexican team, Querétaro. They had a goal scorer named Samuel Sosa. And I just think that's awesome. I said, we need to get this guy drug tested.
Nah. Let him play.
Let the boys play. Let him juice. Let the boys juice.
A little bit.
Yeah. With a doctor at hand, let him rip.
All right. I got my next pick is just straight up Lyon from Liga. Since December 6th, they are 11-1-3 in Liga. I don't know exactly. They were like in the relegation of that league for a while, which is absurd for them to ever be in. They
were getting undressed by their fans in the stadiums.
The fans, the like one of the ultras came onto the field and just like bitched them out after a game that they had played. They're back up in 10th, and their record right now is 11-5-12. So those 11 wins have been since December. Maybe I'm miscounting. Maybe it's like 10. But like most of their wins are from December 6th on. So they're really turning it around. So shout out to them. I'm a big Lyon fan. And then I need to shout out as well Aiden Morris of Columbus Crew. They had a tough game against DC United, went down. Cucho got an insane red card. Just kicked out at a guy, like, so obviously. Like, it's the most blatant.
Insane in the fact that what was he doing? He shouldn't have gotten it. Yeah.
Okay. In the day of replay, like, it's one of those things that you just cannot do. Like, you can't do that. But Aiden Morris did save a point for the Crew in the 87th minute. Absolute banger of a goal. So shout out to them.
Big MLS pod. That's what we are.
Hell yeah.
Big MLS pod. My last dude of the week is actually a dudette. And, you know, normal people would be like, Caitlin Clark, shout out to her. And shout out to Caitlin Clark because she is wildly popular and like has done a really, really great job for the women's college basketball sport. And shout out to Cleveland. I have heard nothing but glowing reviews online about how...
Did you see the video side by side of like, it was like Caitlin Clark and Joakim Noah have two very different views about Cleveland, and it's like the old Joakim Noah video goes like, I fucking hate coming here.
Yeah.
And then Caitlin Clark's like, this place is great, like, you know, whatever. And somebody said, bro, she lives in Iowa. Like, of course. Of course it's fire. Like,
there's levels to this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
The Iowans were like, oh my god, the big city. And Joakim Noah, who also is on probably my Mount Rushmore of most hated athletes of all time.
Yeah, he can fuck off.
Him and Draymond, if you're only going to do an NBA one, are definitely in there. But back to my actual dudette. I'm going to shout out Don Staley, coach for South Carolina. This is her third national title. And when I was interning in D.C., working in politics, one of the women I worked with at Nike Georgetown played at Temple and Don Staley was her coach. And so since then, kind of been like, oh, like Don Staley, dope coach. Been following her. Great job. Another national title. You know, that team was also just way better than Iowa.
That team was stacked, brother.
That Cardozo girl is like a beast.
Yes. She is also way taller, way more physical, and like also very skilled. Like the argument
She's
like
Brazilian.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Footwork.
I mean Cardoza, yeah, got it. But
big footwork.
But like they're talking about, do you see the thing on PMT where they're talking about like what NBA player could go to the worst team in like the 68 and like beat everybody? And they were talking about Wemby, and they were like, Zach Edey and Wemby are the same player if like Zach Edey was fast, could dribble, could, you know, do all this shit. And like she literally is like Wemby because she is not only just big and can just like reach over everybody, she was just like off balance, like backboard in every single time. She had like 15 points, 15 rebounds at one point. She's just a beast.
Yeah. I have a hot take. Have you
hear it.
been watching Purdue?
Yes.
Over under 20 minutes in the NBA for Zach Edey.
Like lifetime?
I know it's going to be more, but do you get my point?
He wasn't, for a while, he wasn't in the lottery picks.
He's so slow.
Yeah, I don't know if he translates. And I also, if he has a good game against, I think it's the dude from UConn, is it Klinger? Mm-hmm. He is a beast. And he's not as tall as him, but he's going to defend him, and it's going to be a tough game. If he like kind of shuts him down and dominates Edey, I think his stock is like plummets. But yeah, look, I agree with you.
Yeah, full disclosure, the last hot take that John Whitaker had on an NBA prospect going into the draft was Kevin Durant. And the fact that he couldn't bench 3 times in the draft combine, I was like, he's not going to be any good. He's too small. He's too thin. He's too waifish. Yeah. So take my insights with the grainiest of grains of salt. Michael.
The biggest grain.
Yeah. We had some football this weekend. We're both kind of sitting down bad right now. I'm not going to lie to you. Let's get into it. Let's start where the week started at 7:30 in the morning, which, if I'm also being totally transparent and naked on this podcast, because you're getting it from us straight up. I forgot that we played at 7:30 in the morning.
I always assume we do.
Yeah, I know you do. But I forgot we played at 7:30 in the morning. And Alexis wakes me up and she goes, hey, let's go take Josie to off leash in Prospect Park. I was like, fuck. All right, fine, I guess. So I'm getting up and I look over, and you know when you get that FOTMOB 10 minutes to kick off notification?
I don't have that on there because I never forget.
All right, Hardo. I got that notification and I was like, oh, shit. Anyway, Palace 2. City 4. Mateta opened it up in the 3rd minute with a goal. 10 minutes later, De Bruyne equalized. You got a Ricardo Lewis. You got a Rico Lewis goal in the 47th minute. 70th again for De Bruyne. 66th for Haaland. I went out of order, and Edouard in the 86th. It looked like it was going to be the same old story. Palace giving us fits, and then it's a draw, which feels like a loss. Mateta's goal was clinical. Edouard's goal was clinical. They didn't have too many chances. City turned it on in the second half. This was De Bruyne back being De Bruyne, and Haaland actually scoring, which I was pretty pumped about. But nothing here to really celebrate. We got to win this game anyway, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is a definitely must win. Every game's a must win now, but like this is definitely the one where like I know you've had some troubles, but this is not the same Crystal Palace team, especially with like only Eze playing, no Elise. Like that's a whole nother player that you're missing out on. Yeah,
I will say this, and I think I'm gonna jump into this when I do join that pod Thursday. The type of shit that this City team sucks at is giving up the second goal.
Yeah,
goal differential is gonna come into play. I have a feeling.
I think it's done. Like, I think they're the team who had, like, Arsenal has the best goal difference. I don't think there's any way any of us catch them. Yeah, but I meant, like, when you guys were losing and we were tied on points, I was sitting there and I'm like, literally, if we don't give up that goal, we're in second and you guys aren't. Yeah. But now we're a point ahead.
But yeah, I totally agree. Goal differential for them is done and dusted. If they lose, that's how we win. But for you and I, Liverpool, Man City going head to head, like it just is the tale of this City team defensively is so out of whack. It feels like, and I am not a great tactician, so I can't tell you exactly what's wrong, but it just always feels like we're out of position. That's what happened in the Mateta goal. Edwards as well. I think it just felt like we weren't ready to defend, and that's been the story all season, to be totally honest. I told you this the other day. Laughable that we thought this team was going to only give up 15 goals or some shit all season. They got 31 given up. So that's my take.
Yeah. It has to kind of, like, at the end of the year when you guys were just, like, not giving up goals and the defense was so good, it almost was probably a bad thing that people had the entire, like, offseason to figure out how to, like, attack that. As opposed to, like, if you guys started off the season doing something crazy and hadn't given up a goal in, like, 5 games, I feel like you'd have a way better chance then because people are, like, on the fly have to figure out how to get past you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Win for City, though. This is actually the most I've talked about City in a while. Win for City. Palace still got to figure it out. Villa. Talk about a letdown. 3-3 draw to Brentford. Watkins in the 39th. Rodgers in the 46th gave them a 2-0 lead. Then a Zanka, Mbeumo, and Wissa three-peat for Brentford. Give them a 3-2 lead with Watkins getting a tying goal in the 80th. And then Villa pushing to try to get the winner. Brother, we might be circling this game at the end of the season if Villa don't make Champions League.
Do you think we're going to get the 5th spot?
Yeah, I would hope so. This is the best league.
I also think, like, you guys in Arsenal, us and West Ham, Villa's still in it. I think there's a lot of teams that, I mean, West Ham have to play Leverkusen, but Germany's ahead of us anyway. So, but if you're talking, like, top 4, I totally agree with you. How you give up 3 goals in what, like, 12 minutes, was it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
9.
9 minutes, even worse. And did Tony come in? He came in the 81st, but after they scored all the goals. I mean, that at home too. Like, I was watching most of this game, and it really didn't look like Brentford had anything. And I flipped it to another game because these were all happening at the same time, and I couldn't believe when I looked back and Brentford up 3-2, and then Watkins got that goal, but it wasn't enough at the end.
Went to Off Leash where I'm watching the City game on my phone. Fast forward an hour later, I'm at brunch in the Midtown East with JCD, John, who officiated my wedding. He's in town from Paris, and we were at a bar where they were playing this game to the right of me. His little daughter's there. She loves soccer, football, because they live in Paris and like they watch it all the time. I looked up and I was like, oh, Villa 2-0. Great. Another win. I'm starting 2-0 this week. Perfect.
Yep.
We're eating, we're talking, we're having a good time. It's 3-2 next time I look up and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But I do think, they brought on Tony when it got tied because it told you that Brentford saw some holes that they could actually expose and try to get a goal in. I don't know. Villa, I don't want them to run out of steam. I want them in Champions League.
I do too. Sorry, my dog just went insane. There's a dog outside, so of course. Yeah, I want them. I think if we get the 5th spot, they're in because they're 11 points ahead of United. Yeah. But just in case, I would prefer them, guarantee make it in, get that top 4 spot. But at the same time, Spurs this year have become a little bit of not a darling, I guess, but I like Ange, I like Son, Matters, I like him a lot. So I really can't be mad at those 2 teams getting in. So
for a team that fucks us up, City, every time we go to Tottenham.
I hate playing them. We have a very good record against them. I hate playing them.
Yeah. I do have a little spot in my heart for a couple of those players. Speaking of players that, Michael, I think that you've put the opposite of a mush on. Everton 1, Burnley 0. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Second minute of stoppage time in the first half with the lone goal of the game. Big 3 points for Everton. What are your thoughts? Do you think he listens to the NAFTAA pod?
He got pissed. He heard me and he was annoyed. No, did you see the goal?
I didn't.
It's like a deflected, like almost like the Darwin Núñez goal in a sense, like deflected in. I don't know, man. I mean, they only actually got 1 point this week because they just got two more points deducted.
I saw that.
So they're at 27, still not in 18th, or sorry, not in 18 or 17. I think they're in 16th now. But I don't know, man. That like they're still definitely in it for sure, and they're not playing very well right now. Like I know they won this game. I know. Did they get a draw last game? I think against Newcastle. But they weren't really playing well in that game either. If I was them, I'd be a little bit worried because Luton get one win, and Forest get a win, and I don't know what their schedules look like, but they could be right in it.
Forest has 5 points in the last 5 games. Everton only with 4, and with the -2, it's only 2. And then Luton with 4 points in the last 5. Luton feels a little dangerous. We're going to talk about their win here in a second, but they feel a little dangerous. And like Forest, they're playing Wolves this week. Everton's playing Chelsea. Luton's playing City. Everton can find themselves in 17th place at the end of this week, no doubt.
For sure.
It'll be interesting to see how this ends. You kind of feel bad, and this is coming from the guy that is, holding 115 different charges in a bag right now, but 2 more, you kind of feel bad about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they're doing everything they can. Fulham 0, Newcastle 1. Gamarish in the 81st give Newcastle all 3 points. It was kind of a big win for them just because they are so erratic and so not consistent with how they play because of how thin this team is, as we've said every week. And on the other hand, the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde, Fulham, a 3-0 win at Tottenham, a 3-3 tie against Sheffield, a loss to Forest, and then a loss to Newcastle. They're all over the place. They're another team that you never know what you're going to get. Newcastle needs some depth. What else is new?
Yeah, I will say, though, they're 2 points off 6 right now. If they can, outpace West Ham and Man United for the rest of the season, and they play United, I know for sure. I think they got Spurs next, if I'm correct. Yeah, they got Spurs. They do play Sheffield United and Burnley, Crystal Palace, Brighton, Brentford, and United. So they got a couple hard games in there, but also a couple ones that they should definitely win. With them, though, it's just completely dependent on, how good are those 11 players that they keep having to put out there. But if they do get 6th somehow, I think it's actually a really good end of the year for them, just considering all the injuries they've had, all the shuffling, the Tonali thing. I mean, we haven't even talked about him for a while. Like, I think it's actually a good turnaround for them.
Look, they got home against Tottenham, away against United, away against Palace, home against Sheffield, away against Burnley, home against Newcastle, and away to Brentford. That's not a bad schedule.
No. I think the Brighton game is tough. They have that at home. That's good. The Spurs game is tough. They have that at home. Away at United will be tough. But again, United, I think, has given up the most shots this year of any team in the Prem. So, you can score against them for sure. Other than that, I think they were definitely all winnable games for them. They have the talent. It just depends, again, who's going to show up, who's going to play well.
Yeah. No doubt. That's been the story all season.
Good analysis. Who's going to play well will win the game.
But I do think you brought up a good point. If I had to pick a horse, and we've been joking about this all season, about them being so thin and you can't count on them if you have to pick them in predictions. But if you're looking at West Ham, they got a game in hand on West Ham too. If you're looking at them outpacing West Ham for that 7th spot to stay in Europe, because that's the goal for this new management, right? Get in Europe. Stay in Europe. It doesn't necessarily have to be Champions League right now. Last year was incredible because it got to be Champions League. Stay in Europe. I think they catch West Ham. I think they end up 7th for sure. So we'll have to see.
Yeah. Plus, West Ham have Europa. They have to play Leverkusen.
Yep.
They got you guys at the Etihad. They got Chelsea away. They have us at home. And then they have Fulham and Luton at home for them. So those should be 2 wins probably for them. But again, they're another Jekyll Hyde team. Like, we just don't know.
For sure. Luton, 2-1 over Bournemouth. Michael and my, second flirting favorite team. Tavernier opened the scoring for the Cherries in the 52nd, but Clark and Morris, 73rd and 90th respectively, get both goals for Luton, get them big 3 points, and again, playing away at Luton late in the game is tough for teams. We knew that was going to happen all season. We've talked about it at length. And this team's just fucking fun. And I want them to stay up.
I do too. They score goals. I think they had that 2-0 loss against Arsenal that broke their streak, but they had been scoring at least a goal every game for a while. And they are literally the epitome of the talent might not all be there, but the effort is 110 every single game. I would really like to look at, maybe I'll do it since I have some time, that Luton, Nottingham Forest, Everton run in. Yeah. Because if I don't know what their schedule looks like, I don't know what Forest does, but they could legit stay up.
I'm not going to look at all 3 of them at once, but I was going to plan this out with you. City away, Brentford at home, Wolves away, Everton at home, West Ham away, Fulham at home. How many points do they get left in those last 6 games?
Man, the Brentford, Everton, Fulham at home all look good.
Yes.
I think they could get, from those 3, I think they could get 7.
Yeah. Not crazy.
No, it wouldn't be crazy if they got 7, and I think they could get a draw away. They could get 8 more points. I think if they got 8 points, where are they at right now? 25?
Yeah, they are sitting at 25 points. 8 would get them 33 because math is my forte here. Does that keep them up?
I feel like it would, but I also don't know because I don't know who Nottingham Forest have.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look for next step. We can actually have that planned out. But 8, I think, is a decent shout.
We can talk about Forest schedule when we talk about them.
All right, perfect. Luton Town with a big win, though. Look, you're going to run into this when your team is totally safe and Bournemouth is totally safe. And to be honest, they've had a pretty great season for how bad it started, if you remember. Mm-hmm. I think if you take out those first 4 weeks, they're a pretty damn good team. When you're safe, you're going to lose some of these games. I'm not looking too far into this.
Yeah, I'm not either. Plus, again, like we're sitting here talking about how tough it is to play at Luton and how much effort they put in and the drive and desire. Yep. You know, if you lose this game with two late goals, I don't think you can be upset.
Wolves 1, West Ham 2. Sarabia with a pen in the 33rd gave Wolves an early lead, but Paquetá another pen in the 72nd and James Ward-Prowse in the 84th give the Hammers all 3 points. Come on, you Irons. Jekyll and Hyde, kind of both teams. I think Wolves is pretty consistent lately, and we've been singing the praises of Gary O'Neill all season. But West Ham's going to do this to you sometimes.
Did you see the goal disallowed?
Yes.
Do you want to, on behalf of City and the referees, do you want to issue an apology to Wolves that they didn't get the same benefit that you guys did?
Look, I think this is a tough pod not to have Dylan on because he really bangs the drum for those smaller teams, kind of getting the NBA treatment where it's like Man City is LeBron James and Wolves are James Crowder, or what was that guy's name?
Jamison Crowder?
Jamison Crowder. Just not getting calls.
Man City are Zach Edey, and Wolves are every other college basketball player.
True.
Yeah. Just
I wish I had something prepared for that. I didn't. That was off the cuff. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do?
This is the thing. I do think it's actually more egregious than yours because, like, I think, didn't Akanji, like, kind of jump over the ball?
He did, yeah.
Okay, because, like, he was in front of the Kilman was in front of the keeper for sure. Dylan's right. The keeper's never saving that ball. It's really not even in the vicinity of him, but it is by the book, like you said, like probably an offsides. It does suck though, because it was a sick goal. But again, I think if you're Wolves in this one too, like this is a huge win for West Ham at the Molineux, but like if you're Wolves, like you don't have a striker right now, like legitimately, like Sarabia, they did have Sarabia, but like you have so little depth everywhere. It's tough. I feel like West Ham's a good team.
He's a midi more than he's a striker in my mind.
Yeah, he's kind of a hybrid, but he's had he came over and I don't think he did much of anything, and then this year he's kind of popped off a little bit for them.
I remember telling Dylan because he was coming over from Sevilla, I believe, and I was like, dude, he's a pretty good player. Like you guys, and he was at PSG before, right? I think that's true.
Yeah.
I was like, he's a pretty good player. Like this is a good pickup. At the time, I was like, this is a Lopetegui effect. Like you guys are going to get some of these better players. And he played like shit for Lopetegui.
He has 7 assists, 4 goals this year.
Yeah, I think Gary O'Neill, like I said, if he wins Coach of the Year, no one on this podcast argues with that. The question I do have, though, because I am rewatching that City documentary now, right? Mm-hmm. They had the derby game of City and United last year. I got to that episode where they played that ball and Marcus Rashford did everything but touch it.
Yeah. And
it wasn't called offsides. I feel like that is more offsides than some of these like shielding calls I've seen.
Yeah, I would agree for the most part. It's just really weird because the shielding ones, it's like, does he affect, because they're never touching the ball. They're never like interacting. It's like, does he affect the play? And that's where it gets so weird because, like Dylan said, and like I agreed, the goalkeeper's never getting that ball to that Kilman heads or that whoever headed. So like, is he really affecting the play in that case? But if he's standing right in front of the keeper, which he was, like it is a tough call, I think, for the most part.
Or that goal against Villa last week against City. Like I was sitting there talking to you on the phone, and I was like, damn, like he just knew not to touch it, and it made a Kanji like pull up. Anyway. The refs are inconsistent. That's been the consistency of this podcast all season. Brighton. Yes. Speaking of inconsistent, I should say Brighton. A 3-0 drubbing to Arsenal. Saka with the pen in the 33rd. Havertz in the 62nd. Trossard in the 86th. I watched this game at a bar as well. Brighton just never looked like they were in it.
No. They had a couple like little breaks where they were getting midway or they were trying to like build some possession, but it never seemed like they were probing enough to like consistently get chances or consistently get a goal. It's really tough. It's tough to watch them right now because I think we have glorified them since like from last year to like this incredible team that just did all these great things, and they still are like, it's still insane that they're in the position they are. But, like, it just isn't exactly the same as last year, so we think that they're worse. And I just don't think they have as many big results this year as they did last year.
I totally agree. I tell my wife all the time. She's into rock climbing now, as you know, because I make fun of her to you about this, even though I love her, and I love that she does it. And she comes home sometimes, she's like, hey, I didn't conquer the routes I really wanted to conquer. And I try to tell her all the time, progress isn't a straight line.
Right. So good of you there.
So deep, so like such a good husband. I think Brighton can look at this the same thing. They got to Europe last year. They're not in Europe, going to be in Europe this year. Hopefully next year they can get to Europe. What they have to do is try to be consistently in Europe, and that's the next step. So progress, not a straight line. Shout out to Brighton. Shout out to my wife and her rock climbing endeavors.
Just for context, they had 62 points at the end of last year. And they're on 43 right now.
And with their schedule, I bet you they don't break 50. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I don't know who they play. I feel like you know. Oh, okay. But again, they also had a full European schedule like with this year. So, it's if they get to like 52, 53, I think like a 9 to 10 point drop off with Europe like in Makes that sense. Schedule, it is like pretty reasonable.
because we joke all the time they're going to bring someone up that's the next like person they're going to sell for $60 million, but this isn't the deepest squad either. Like them and Newcastle actually have very similar situations going into this first endeavor into Europe for sure. Burnley, Chelsea, City, Bournemouth, Villa, Newcastle, United. So not the easiest run in.
No.
So we'll see.
They'll beat United. I'll put my money on it right now. They'll beat United.
Shout out to Caroline.
Yeah.
Not our Caroline, Nick's Caroline.
I knew who you're talking about.
Okay, perfect. A hilarious game, a hilarious result. Chelsea 2, Sheffield United 2. Silva opened the scoring in the 11th minute. Bogle in the 32nd tied it up for Sheffield. Madueke, a goal in the 66th, which, let me compliment a Chelsea person just so they don't think I'm a total opposite of a homer. That was a laser. I don't know if you saw this goal. It was an absolute laser. And then McBurney in stoppage time draw and get Sheffield a much-needed point, which in the end of things will not matter. It's just funny to see Chelsea fans, Chelsea podcasts in particular, talk about how much they got outworked. And that's what I saw on my feed. So that was cool.
I'm so pissed. I had Spurs and Chelsea moneyline both over 2.5 goals total in the game. It was like a $60 payout, and having to flip over to FOTMob and see the 2-1 change to 2-2 actually made me want to like drive my car off a bridge. Like I was so annoyed. The one time I'm just like, please, like for you guys and for me, get this win. Like we both want it bad. We both need it. Just do it. And they blew it at the end. Spurs came through for me. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, they're a bigger club than you in that regard.
My quick question. We know that Chelsea will probably be stateside again, I believe, for the summer.
They're in Columbus.
Yeah, they're playing City in Columbus.
Yep.
I'm going to try to go to that game.
Okay.
Over under 35 Chelsea fans saying they'll win the league this year at that event. Way over, right?
I still can't get over the guy who was telling us Nicholas Jackson was going to be the top scorer.
The Lulu, the kids would say.
He was saying that Nkunku would win Player of the Year because he was so good, and Jackson would be the top scorer in the league. That's crazy. I mean, I feel bad for Nkunku because I actually like him, and he's been hurt all year. But, like, to have those two things exist at the same time, like, I feel like if Nicholas Jackson scored the most goals in the league his first year, he'd probably win Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, like Nkunku would have such a good year, apart from that he would actually win Player of the Year over the guy who led the league in scoring.
That guy didn't even have Cole Palmer at the time. You can't imagine what happened when he got that.
I just want to live in that guy's brain.
It would be terrible, to be honest with you.
It'd be interesting though. Like you'd never have a bad day. Like it would just be crazy.
How do you feel like he solves problems? Like he was just like, damn, there has to be a Rogan pod about this, right?
I don't know if I'd bunch them together, but
yeah, good.
Definitely somebody who like aggregates a bunch of podcasts.
Yeah.
And then like
pod sources their information.
Yes. Absolutely.
As we're on a podcast for sure. I don't know, Michael. I do think that Venn diagram of Chelsea fan and Rogan listener that has a meaty middle.
Probably, for sure. I wouldn't doubt
most popular podcast in the world, so probably.
Yeah, they're bound to have some
sheer numbers. All right, Chelsea with a draw. Tottenham 3, Forest 1. A Murillo own goal in the 15th minute gave Tottenham a 1-0 lead, with Wood getting the goal back for Nottingham Forest. They have been playing a little bit more scrappy. Van de Ven, speaking of fucking lasers, with a goal in the 52nd. That was crazy. And then Pedro Porro with also a very, very, very nice goal, which it's really hard for me to compliment Pedro Porro because I actually think he's probably not a very nice person. 3-1 win for Tottenham Hotspur. Big 3 points for them. They move into 4th place, and they are in the Champions League. Shout
out to Spurs. Good win. Just so I don't forget, I just want to go over that Nottingham Forest schedule with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They got Wolves at home first. Okay, so that's a tough but winnable game for sure with how Wolves are right now, depleted. they have you guys at home. This is not in order. I'm going home games, then away games. So you guys at home, and then they have Chelsea at home, okay? So those are 3 tougher home games.
For sure.
Okay? They got to go to Everton.
Borderline must win for them.
For Everton, and for both teams.
Both,
for sure.
yeah, kind of must watch. So
Absolutely. That's April 21st. May 4th, they go to Sheffield United.
Must win.
And then they go to Burnley to end the season.
Must win.
I think, I will say, the Burnley one kind of flips for me and I'm going to assume Burnley are going to be out of it.
Yeah.
But if they're out of it and Nottingham Forest need to win, then I think Burnley, obviously, the kind of roll over.
Yeah. Burnley's that last game of the season, as you mentioned. But,
yes.
you know, I don't not see 7
points?
Not 9 points, maybe?
Well, they're probably not beating Chelsea, although Chelsea did just tie Sheffield United. So it's completely possible, but I would say like the numbers are with, Chelsea on that one. Sorry, I gotta make sure my computer doesn't fucking die. Wasn't charged. They're not beating you guys, even though it's at home.
The away games are all winnable.
Yes, but they're also huge games for those other teams too.
For sure. They're playing 3 Super Bowls.
So actually I was completely wrong. Well, not completely wrong, but they're playing Chelsea at home. That's going to be a big game because that's that is just a big game. Nottingham Forest and Chelsea, they don't like each other. So
yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see. I think next pod we do a little what did you call it? Beautiful minding on the iPad for the schedule. We'll go through it and we can talk about who we think's actually going to go down. We'll probably have the other guys on at that point. That'll be good.
Brother, we haven't said it on pod. I'm done school.
Yeah.
I'm a pharmacist. I passed. I don't have to look at homework. I don't have to look at books. I got this week pretty basic where I can
nothing but
whatever.
time.
Yeah, I'm walking dogs. I had a wag walk today. Shit was sick.
God. Man of the people.
Absolutely.
Man of the dogs. For all the dogs.
Yeah.
Man United, 2. Liverpool, 2. Diaz in the 23rd gave Liverpool a 1-0 lead. It was tied up by a Fernandes goal, which was a mistake by Liverpool. Kobe Mainu pulled a 67th minute goal out of his ass. It was an amazing strike to give United a 2-1 lead. And then in the 84th minute, Salah ties it up on a pen that is not controversial unless you're on the Man United Twitter sphere.
I've seen some like ref accounts talking about it not being a pen either.
Well, they're like the most consistent people we've ever met.
I actually do want to look at that did VAR make a mistake account because they are pretty consistent. I want to see what they say. I haven't actually looked at that. The ones I have seen have completely ignored the trailing leg part of it, which I'm just like completely invalidates it to me because like you're not looking at the entire action. It is way closer than I thought it was. And again, I just think with how VAR has been this year, and there have been the refs have made a ton of mistakes. I think a lot of the time now, especially the end, if it's on field and it's not egregiously wrong, they're just sticking with the on field so they can, not have any controversy. I like how you introduced those United goals like we didn't have anything, or no, like it was completely our fault, which, the first one is a bad pass by Kwanzaa. Bruno Fernandes still has to do a absolutely unbelievable outfield chip to get that goal. And the Mainu goal was really good too, as well. Yes, we shouldn't have let him obviously get in the box and turn around for fun, but dude, it is just, I think I saw the one stat my friend sent me. We've had 90 shots in 3 games against them this year, counting the FA Cup game, and we haven't won any. It's I've never seen a team just completely dominate another and just forget one facet of the game so uniformly. I mean, no one on our team could finish. You sit there and the first couple you're like, okay, we're there, we're right there. But then as that keeps going on, it just becomes frustrating, obviously, but like, what are we doing? Why can't we score a goal here? And then like, I'm hoping that we score the penalty, and I'm kind of sitting there hoping that we're just gonna absolutely pin them the rest of the game, and push for that last goal. And it was kind of 50-50. Like, we couldn't get the ball up the field. We were like, the amount of passes I saw in the middle of the park that just got picked off, was crazy. It is just they were absolutely, in a weird way, like our kryptonite this year. Like, just those two, the home game and this game both, in hindsight, is the biggest 4 points dropped. 100%. If we don't win it, we're gonna look back at that more so than even that Luton Town draw that we had. Because at least that was away. At least that team was like, fighting for their lives from the beginning. It's just really disappointing to watch that performance and get that result, I guess. And just sucks, especially against United.
You brought up a stat that was the 90 shots, 0 goals, 0 wins. Sorry,
0 wins. Yeah, we had technically
goals,
5
obviously.
goals, but the other one's in extra time too. We had a goal in extra time.
But the stat that I saw that was wild, that really, like, if you take out every goal, the Liverpool goals and the United goals, and you're just watching this game, Manchester United got taken out back, and like, it wasn't even that Liverpool were that good. I think you guys actually played a pretty poor game for yourselves. Like, you had opportunities, you didn't finish them, but there were other things that you guys did that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But United were so bad. Like, so bad. And the stat that I saw that was hilarious that I sent to you was Andre Onana had more passes in this game than Kobe Mainoo did. He's in the middle. He needs to be one of your pivots, trying to connect the defense to the offense and vice versa. And if he's not touching the ball as much as your goalkeeper is, not a good sign.
The other thing too, just not to cut you off, that FA Cup game, when I watched it, I was kind of like, it just felt like a friendly almost, or like an exhibition game. It just felt weird, and I kind of got this vibe that like we didn't really care about going all out for it. And again, that's not to say like we didn't try. Like, I think we did, and I don't think like if you're a United fan and you heard this, you'd be like, oh, so like the only time we can beat you is if you guys don't try. It's not what I'm saying. It just felt like a different game. And I thought in my head that when it came down to it, like if we, in a very, very serious situation, like the Premier League, like the title run-in, we could just dominate them to the point where like it didn't matter. And it just kind of showed that like we have a lot of fight, we have a lot of effort. That's how we come back late in games. We really don't have that like robotic killer instinct sometimes though, where like we can just, it doesn't matter how it's going, we can just put goals away.
I think I would argue too that that's what you used to have more than anything.
I think I agree a little bit, because I think like Mane definitely had that. Like Mane was just
Salah
outrageous.
at his peak. Salah had that too.
And he did not play very well this game either, in my opinion. I thought Szoboszlai played well and should have had probably like 2 goals, but again, and I it's so easy to sit here when you watch your team all year and like see this performance, but like Onana played pretty well. Like Mainoo played pretty well. Fernandes, as much as I hate him, like he's still a good player, and I've said that from the very beginning. He had a really good game. And once we like, if we could just get 2 goals up, I think it's over. I think they fall, they fold, all that shit. And we just could never get that second goal until Fernandes did. And then it was like we kind of were playing scared, I think. So,
yeah, I mean, go ahead. Sorry,
I was just going to say, I think if we win out, we still win the league. Because I think Arsenal will drop up some points somewhere. But if they don't, they absolutely deserve it. Completely on us for losing this game that we absolutely should have won. Took the title out of our hands, basically. So
Michael also doing his best Eclipse impression right now.
Brother, it's been the entire. I've been like sitting here going like this, like trying to hide my eyes.
It's crazy.
It's tough.
The one other thing I'll say, and it's because I was watching JLA, and it's the only pod that we'll shout out on this podcast that we aren't friends with, because I think his analysis is really great, and you couldn't bear to watch it, so I watched it for you. But he broke down this game. The inability to have United set up correctly on a press while defending and while being offensive was hilarious. Like like he was walking through each phase of the game and saying that these guys just don't know where they need to be and don't know what they're doing, and that's on Ten Hag. I am fully over the past 3 weeks, because I've been really harsh on United the past 3 weeks. Nick's not here. I think it's easier when that happens. But I've been really harsh on United. This guy's got to go. I think Ten Hag's a terrible coach.
So this is what I'll say. There's either one of two things. He's either a bad coach, and the tactics that they are implementing are terrible. To their credit, they had Maguire in that academy center back. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see the video, so I don't even know if it's strictly defending or doing whatever. But the thing about him not having the guys he wants, he literally wanted Anthony and wanted to pay that amount and got him. So he has pulling to get those players, and if he didn't at the time, he wanted Onana. If he didn't get the guys he wanted when he has already gotten guys that he wanted, it's kind of a little bit on him. The other thing is are these guys just do the players not want Ten Hag there and they're just kind of phoning it in? It didn't seem like they were phoning it in that game, because I watched Marcus Rashford walk around against Chelsea, and then the first 20 minutes of the game he was slide tackling, he was running around. I was this is bullshit. I knew this would happen.
So he went down 1-0.
Yeah, and then he did kind of was all right, fuck it, I don't care. But then he got taken off, whatever. So I don't know exactly. I think he's done regardless. I think just the performance this year, the underlying numbers this year, the Ineos people are gonna find somebody else. I think they'll give him the end of the year. I don't think they're gonna fire him or anything.
For Ten Hag being a big analytics guy, the analytics aren't good.
They're very bad.
Other fun.
Can I get one more
Yeah,
thing?
go ahead, and I'll give the fun stat at the end.
Okay, I know the first game at home we played them, the VVD quote about only one team was there to win the game. I don't think he has said anything, or any of the other players has, but Klopp said if they play against Arsenal like that, Arsenal will win 100%. I'm so sick of them talking about not subliminals, because I know who they're talking. They're obviously talking about United, but just these little they're not playing how they should, or they're playing bad or whatever. I don't care. Win the game then. If they're playing so bad, and if one team is trying to win and the other team isn't, fucking win. Win the game. I don't give a shit what you say after the game. You should be made fun of for that stuff. You should be made fun of saying that stuff, because nobody cares. That is not making me feel any better. Yeah. I'm not sitting there going oh, Klopp got him. He owned him. I don't give a fuck. I couldn't care less about what he said after that.
No, I totally agree. My fun stat, last 5 games, Liverpool, Man United, all competitions. You guys are 1-2-2. But on aggregate have won 13-8.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's what happens when you put a touchdown on someone one game.
Shit is insane, bro. It is literally just I can't even.
So we're both sitting here, a City fan and a Liverpool fan. And we're pretty sure it's over.
I think Arsenal will drop points, but I also think we'll drop more points too. So I just don't know when. I mean, we have to go on. I've been feeling like we've been kind of skating by a little bit. Maybe we just don't do well as the team that everyone's chasing, and we need to be the chaser.
I think we don't do well as the chaser.
Yeah, so...
Oh, no, that's not true. We know that's not true after last year. That's not fair.
So we'll see. God, who do we have? Who do we have next? We have Palace, I think, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have to just bury them at home. Like, if it's anything less than like a very, very good performance, it's it is what it is.
That match week done and dusted. Michael, let's get in to our predictions. It was a tough week for you and I. Not as bad of a week for the brothers Tucker. Nick and Dylan went 6-4. You and I went 4-6. You're still in the lead. I think you've clinched at this point, to be honest with you.
I want to try to get 200.
Doable.
So I don't. Yeah, but not if you go 4-6 every week. So
that's true. Valid. But you're sitting at 173 and 140. I am sitting at 164 and 149. Nick right behind me, 163 and 150. Dylan, 154 and 159. That 6-4 really helped Dylan to get to 500. Because that's the pod goal is everyone over 500 at the very least.
Yes, always.
That's when we can pass out trophies at our banquet night. Type shit.
I love that for us. I love if we had a banquet, it'd be sick.
Yeah. Let's get into it. First game of the week. Newcastle's hosted Tottenham.
Brother, I got no idea.
I'm going to go Tottenham. Just on form, because they just won. And I think that they really want to get Champions League.
Doesn't this kind of feel like a draw, though?
It does. But I'm afraid to pick draws anymore.
I am too. I had two in the bag, and they got taken away from me.
Yep.
I got Spurs as well. I think I just have to start picking the better team and just live with it.
Yep. Brentford hosting Sheffield United.
Brentford, I think Brentford get this one, and I think they're safe.
Really?
Because I'm not saying like they don't need to win or like get any results of any other game, but they're gonna fall into a couple points after this. So yeah, I think they get this one. What does that put them at? 32. It puts them ahead of Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
And I think they have what 5 games after that. They'll get some more points in those.
Yeah. I totally agree. I got Brentford in this one too. Can I just give you and the listeners a peek into my brain and how it works real quick?
Please do it.
We had a conversation the other night about us having to play Tottenham.
Uh-huh.
And you were like, yeah, it's at Tottenham. And I was like, no, we already lost this season at Tottenham. I just realized that it is indeed at Tottenham.
I told you.
And we drew at home.
Yeah. But you won in the cup against Tottenham at Tottenham.
Yeah.
I was right.
I am now even more just mentally fucked for this run-in. Yeah, sorry, back to predictions, but I just saw that on our sheet, and I was like, shit, I was wrong, and now we're screwed. Burnley, they're hosting Brighton.
I got Brighton. I just can't, again, and when it comes to tough decisions, I'm just going to pick the better team.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I got Brighton as well. Man City hosting Luton. I got City. I'm assuming you do as well.
Yes.
Forest is going to host Wolves. Big game. The Gibbs-White Derby.
I think this is a draw.
The Morgan Bowl. You think it's a draw?
Yeah.
Damn. I'm afraid to pick a draw. I'm going to go with Dylan.
I'm so scared.
I'm going to pick Wolves because I know he won't. I got Wolves. Bournemouth hosting Man United.
You go first.
United. I think Bournemouth's on the beach.
Not for this. Not a home game against United. They're not on the beach for that.
Have you been talking to Craig lately or something?
Nope.
All right. You got Bournemouth?
You know what? I tried to be a good Samaritan this week. This whole week I tried to be a good guy. Give them compliments. Didn't help me at all. Fuck them. Fuck them the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I got Bournemouth.
Picking against them. Liverpool hosting Palace. Who you got?
Liverpool. Hope to God.
Yeah, I got Liverpool as well. A big game, actually, because, throw a dart at the wall and it'll tell you how they play. West Ham hosting Fulham. Both teams. It's at West Ham.
I'll take West Ham just because it's at home.
Yeah, come on, you bubbles. Arsenal and Villa. I think this is one of the few times left we have for Arsenal to make a drop. The Emery Derby, the Unai Bowl, whatever you want to call it. Unai's revenge.
Yeah, I think it can go either one of two ways. It could be Arsenal up for this for some reason because of Emery, but I don't think they had many of the same players, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know Arsenal's coaching.
I think it's been turnover, yeah.
I think this is more of a game for Emery, and I think he might try to cook something up. I got Arsenal because I'm just not going to pick against him because if they win, then I'll get my prediction right. But this could be a game that is a little bit of a banana peel for sure.
I'm putting my head and my heart in the same place. Come on, you fucking villains.
You think they're going to win?
I'm picking a dub.
Wow. I'll say this, if that's true, it's the call of the year. Even though I did pick Nottingham Forest to win at Chelsea.
Yeah. I'm sure if we look back, there's some better calls, but yeah, give me them. Give me Villa. I'm afraid to pick a draw.
I would be so pumped.
Yeah. Chelsea hosting Everton.
Chelsea.
Yeah. The Men in Blazers derby on this one. Made a lot of terrible jokes. What?
That's a crazy that the I can't remember. I can never remember his name. Rajan
Davo.
I always forget it. He's a Chelsea fan because it doesn't seem like it. Seems
Why?
like too good of a guy.
He owns like 6 houses.
Oh, never mind.
He's a billionaire.
All right, sorry. I see him through a phone every day. Like it's not like I know him personally. I just said he seemed like a good guy.
Raj is a good. I mean, I'm sure he's a good guy. But
I don't think Raj would hang out with him if he wasn't a good guy in some respect.
True. And that's what do we call that? Those type of relationships you have, parasocial, where that's just being parasocial. Michael, no bets this week. No Tuckers on the pod. Get us out of here with a joke.
Okay. Everyone's gonna get this. How does the sun get a haircut? Eclipse it. Cheers.
The NAFTAA Podcast.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.